Hey guys, WarfleFan45 here, and welcome to my top 18 films of the decade. Why is it 18? I could not choose, and yeah, let's begin. This will be the first part of my decade series. I'll be going all the way back to the 1800s. I've been catching up on my 1800s films recently because I hadn't really seen any. So yeah, let's just stop wasting time and get into it. Starting off at number 18 is Paul Schrader's First Reformed. This is a film that's really hard to describe. It's like a mundane, intense masterpiece, I guess. But you follow a priest who starts questioning his faith and what his church is doing, and it all comes to a head, and that's all I'll say. So this has some of the best visuals and acting of the decade. The visuals are so calm and serene, but what's happening isn't. It's just amazing. Like, it's hard to describe. Ethan Hawke gives probably one of my favorite performances of the decade as Father Toller, and Amanda Seyfried is amazing as well in it. And I forgot the guy who plays her husband, but he's great too. But what a film. This is one of those mind-blowing films you'll see. It's hard to describe really what makes this film so good. Just go watch it. That's really all I have to say. Go watch it. It's really hard to describe that one. Number 17, Silence. Silence is this beautiful, moving, again, steady of faith, weirdly. But yeah, Andrew Garfield gives an amazing performance. Visually, it's my favorite of Scorsese's, and there's just something about it. It's 3 hours long, but it feels like 2 hours or an hour. But it's another hypnotic experience when you watch. Like, Silence is just amazing. And that's really all I have to say. Like, I can't really put it into words. Again, number 16 is a three-way tie between Drive, Song to Song, and Tree of Life. Now that's a weird three-way tie, but we'll get into it. So Drive is Refn's masterpiece, unquestionably, in my opinion. He hasn't made anything better since, in my opinion. The Neon Demon is good, but not that good, in my opinion. That movie sort of falls to the art house genre conventions, in my opinion. But, yeah, Drive will forever be his masterpiece. Gosling gives an amazing performance, the visuals are top-notch, and yeah. Now, the two other completely unrelated ones, Tree of Life and Song to Song. Tree of Life is my second or third favorite Malick movie. Actually, I'll also put To the Wonder here. I'm just going to put all the Malick works of the decade. I haven't seen all of them, but the four I've seen. To the Wonder is just a beautiful study of pretty much decaying marriage. It's hard to explain. I just recommend you go see it. Tree of Life is just a beautiful experience that'll make you appreciate life more. And Song to Song is one of the greatest studies of just love and loving life I've ever seen. Like, check all three of them out. But yeah, number 15, Mission Impossible Fallout. Pure fun. Like, that's really all I have to say. The fight scenes are amazing. The stunts by Cruise are getting near the level of Channing Keaton. But it's just so much fun. Like, the bathroom fight scene is amazing. Like, it's just amazing. Like, you really have to experience it to realize why it's so good. But yeah, the story also comes to a head. I didn't like the ending. That's my main issue. The ending was pretty cliche, but it's a Mission Impossible movie, so I don't care. I just really enjoyed it. I highly recommend checking it out, and yeah. Number 14, Love is the Message is Death. This is an Arthur Jafa short. This is one I don't really want to say anything about. It's free on YouTube. It's extremely relevant to today. Honestly, just go watch it. This is one I can't describe. It's just an emotional, beautiful, heartbreaking experience, but it also fills you with hope. Like, seriously, check it out. That's one I'm just gonna say check out because it's free on YouTube. It's free to you. Just watch it. Number 13, No Home Movie. So, No Home Movie is just beautiful. The opening shot is a 5-minute shot of a tree just unmoving or moving in the wind, and it's just a hypnotic experience. It's almost meditative. So Chantal Akerman, this was her final film, sadly, but she's not for everyone. Be warned going into this. Again, there's a 5-minute shot of like a lawn chair, but it's just beautiful. Like, something about this film just clicked with me. It's really hard to explain, but I think my favorite shot is like the 10-minute shot in the car where it's just her camera plastered up to the window and everything, just the hills. There's no city. There's only the desert outside. It's hypnotic. That's really all I can say. Number 12, 444, Last Days on Earth. This is a beautiful Abel Ferrara film. I need to see more of his films, but unfortunately I haven't had access to as much films lately. But yeah, 444 is amazing. I don't really know what to say about it. Again, visually it's stunning. Defoe gives one of his best performances, and it just hits you emotionally. Like, the final act especially it'll get you when you don't see it coming. But yeah, 444, just a masterpiece. Number 11, Resident Evil, The Final Chapter. So, a lot of people hate this movie, but I'm in the camp that loves the Resident Evil films. So in my opinion, this movie is one of the best edited films of the decade. The quick cuts sort of go along with the story and what's happening, where Retribution is sort of a glossed up, clean version of the previous few movies. This movie is just like decayed, broken, you're in a wasteland. And sure, I'll even admit the story isn't that original. But what gets it so good is the action, the editing, the score. It's all top notch. Like, I didn't even care the story was cliche, and it gives you the ending you want. I would honestly watch more Resident Evil movies, but it's just a great way to end the franchise. And it won't be the only one on here. Number 10, Tron Legacy. So this isn't the best film of the decade. It's just one of my favorites. Like, it's my most rewatched film of the decade. I think I've seen it 11 or 12 times. It's just fun. Like, there's not a lot else to it. Visually, it's pleasing. Music-wise, it's 10 out of 10. Like, the Daft Punk soundtrack, I listen to even when I'm not watching the movie. But, yeah, I mean, what is there to say? Like, there's some amazing CGI. Like, the CGI at the time, there are a few scenes I'll say where it's a bit off, but the CGI on, like, the light cycles and the disc fights works, like, perfectly. But yeah, it's just sort of a fun watch. It's been one of my favorites for a while, and yeah, I love it. Number 10. Oh wait, sorry, that was number 10. Number 9, Justin Timberlake plus the Tennessee Kids. So, I don't even like Justin Timberlake, and I love this film. So this was Jonathan Demme's last film before he sadly passed, and it's basically an ode to the joy of humanity. Like, it appreciates every single person on the crew, on the stage, in the back, and even Justin Timberlake himself. But, like, it's just meant to give you a joyful experience and help you appreciate more. Like, it's free on Netflix. Go watch it. And the camera work by Demme is amazing. I mean, it's nearly on the level of Stop Making Sense, or it may actually be on the level of Stop Making Sense in terms of concert films. But yeah, Demme was the king of concert films. I don't think you can top him there. But yeah, it's just pure joy. It helped me in a time during the last year when I was really depressed and I needed it, and it brought me up. Like, if you want to pick me up, watch it. I still have a bunch of the songs saved on my phone, and yeah, seriously, just go watch this one. Number 8, Magic Mike XXL. This is a film that I didn't think would make the list, but did. It's just pure fun. Like, the first movie is good, but it's nowhere near the level of the second one. The second one is just a pure joy road trip comedy. Like, there isn't a lot to say about it. It's also one of the most accepting movies you'll ever see. But visually, it's outstanding, and character-wise, it's definitely the peak. Like, it's a calm movie. Like, you don't need to worry or stress about anything. You can just turn it on and relax. Like, my favorite scene is obviously the convenience store scene. Almost said the container store. The convenience store scene is amazing. Like, I haven't laughed that hard at a film in a long time. But yeah, it's another movie where if you just want to smile, watch it. But yeah, number 7. Now, after both of the happy films, we get to the complete opposite, The Black Coat's Daughter. This was my favorite A24 film for a while, and it's my number 2 right now. But this is another one I can't really say a lot about the plot, but basically there are 2 girls trapped in a boarding school, and it might be haunted. Then you follow another story of a girl trying to get to the boarding school, and you don't know why she wants to get to the boarding school, and then eventually it all unravels. So every time I rewatch this, the twist gets me. Like, you can expect the twist, but I didn't expect the twist at first because I didn't go in expecting a twist. So when that twist hit, it hit. And if you know what the twist is, you know what I'm talking about. But the scene when, I'm not going to specify any characters' names, but when the scene in the car, that's all I'm going to say. When everything gets revealed, and then you cut back to the school, and then you realize what's been going on the whole time, and that things may not exactly be the way they seem, is amazing. Like, please watch this film, but go in blind, please. Again, I beg you, go in blind. But yeah, number 6, Resident Evil Retribution. So, at this point, the top 6 are basically all tied except for like 1 and 2. But Resident Evil Retribution. This just puts everything in the franchise that was good and smashes it into one. You have the soundtrack going full force. Legitimately one of my favorite, I think it would just be score, in any movie is the flying through the air bit. Within the opening scene, this movie got me, like, because it doesn't go the way you expect it to. So, where the last movie left off, there's this big battle that you know is gonna happen. But the movie, in probably one of the most genius moves in an action movie of the decade, starts with the end of the battle, and you see the fight going in reverse motion. And there's a reason for that. Like, there's actually symbolism to these movies. Like, I can't really talk about it without spoiling it, but again, it deconstructs what an action movie is within an action movie of the genre. But yeah, the fight with the axe zombies is probably my favorite scene in the whole film. Then there's also the scene with Jill Valentine in the snow, too, that's also amazing. Then everything. It's all just perfect. But yeah, number 5, Deep Blue Sea, The Deep Blue Sea. So this was my first Terrence Davies film, and the best way I can describe this film is just a relaxing experience. Like, you don't have to stress about anything, you can just sit down and watch it. The visuals are calming, the way the characters talk is calming, the subject matter is super intense and actually means a lot to me the way they covered it. But it's just it's heartbreaking, heartwarming, and then just emotional. Like, it's exactly what I needed when I watched it, pretty much. But yeah, I love it. Sure, the story is a bit generic, but when it covers the subject matter it does, it covers it, like, pitch perfectly. But yeah, I'm not gonna say any more about it, just honestly go watch it. I need to see more Terrence Davies soon. But yeah, once I get my Criterion Channel subscription back. But it's just this calming, relaxing, meditative experience. Easy 10 out of 10. Oh, and they're all 10 out of 10s in my opinion. Screw it, I love all these films. So, number 4, is Black Hat. Okay, so if you hated Resident Evil The Final Chapter, you're gonna be shocked that this film is on here too. So Black Hat is not for everyone. Like, again, I want to specify that. But in terms of man's career and where he went with this movie, it's perfection. Like, it is complete perfection. Like, it's everything his career has been building up to that point. Like, there's a great review that I read where it perfectly explains where, so in the previous few films, like Miami Vice and Collateral, obviously, they focus more on individual humans and the systems around them. But Black Hat is about the point where the systems are basically just everything, and the humans have to fight to gain connection. And it is beautiful. Visually, the neon is one of a kind because it's man. And the story's extremely investing. The twist got me again. And the final shootout is so good. And also, the car explosion scene. I'm not going to spoil it, but the car explosion scene is just a gut punch. And that's all I'm going to say about that scene. Again, no spoilers here. Number 2, sorry, no, not number 2. Number 3, Before I Fall. So this film is a YA film, and I don't usually like YA films, but this is another movie that came to me at like a perfect time. It's nothing extreme. It's just calming, relaxing, and honestly has one of the best endings I've seen in a film in a while. But it's just a warm, loving experience. Like, the film loves you, the film loves everyone. Like, that's all I can really say about it. And the camera work is also amazing. The use of toned down blues is amazing. Zoe Deutch gives an amazing performance. The soundtrack is great. It's all great. Like, it would be in my top 5 if I were to make a favorites list right now, which I may randomly release a favorites list soon. But yeah. Now to the 2 I desperately wanted to talk about, and I've been waiting to talk about this whole list. Spring Breakers at number 2. So, when I first watched this film, I loved it, but didn't get it. But then I watched it again, and all of a sudden everything just clicked. How to phrase this? Okay. So, this film is sort of like, this is going to be a very odd comparison, Blue Velvet. So Blue Velvet is all about like these idyllic suburbs and these families that live in them and how good they are, but it's about the dark underbelly. This is about that, except for like taken to the extreme. So I think the best example is the Every Time scene, which is the best scene of the movie by far, where James Franco is singing Every Time, and then the song actually comes on. And this is honestly one of my favorite montages sequences in any film. It's one of my favorite sequences in any film, period. But you go from them sitting happily there to cut and they're robbing someone or just harassing someone. Cut to another thing, they're back to the calm Every Time looking thing. You cut again, and they're basically just robbing someone and holding people at gunpoint. And then cut again, and so on. It's just this perfect juxtaposition of how American culture looks amazing on the outside, but on the inside, it is not that good. or just America in general, not just American culture, where, like, there's a dark side to everything, pretty much. Like, that's the best way I can put it. Like, one of the best pop songs, you can even look at it this way. So Britney Spears, obviously, was super famous for a while. Paparazzi harassed her. She's now gone. So, not gone as in dead, obviously. But you could even analyze that scene that way, where it's like, on the surface it appeared like everything was fine, but on the underbelly it wasn't. Like, there are so many layers to this movie I could go over, but I'm just gonna stop there, honestly. I don't think I want to make an analysis video, because I could go on for hours, honestly. But yeah, James Franco gives my favorite performance of the decade by far as Alien. I really don't know what to say about his character. Like, it's seriously indescribable, but it's just hilarious. Like, it's simultaneously hilarious and haunting. Like, it's happy and dark. It's an almost, a review I read of it described it as like acidic, which it is. Unlike Man, it uses the neon to basically make everything in the area feel disgusting. And it achieves that. And it's pretty form breaking too. It makes like a conventional spring break movie into basically a dark Floridian hellscape. That's the best way I can put it. And yeah, Spring Breakers, sorry for the burp earlier. But yeah, Spring Breakers is a straight up masterpiece. All the performances given are 10 out of 10s. The visuals by Corinne are amazing. The soundtrack is amazing. And the symbolism, that's the high point. Read up on it, and you will not believe the things that are... Well, here's the thing. Spring Breakers is a divisive movie for a reason. If you take it all on its surface, it's super bad, but if you take it under the surface, there's a lot more going on. Now on to my number one. If you saw my favorites list last year, you know what this is. My favorite film of all time, Twin Peaks: The Return. You cannot beat this film for best film of the decade, in my opinion. Like, nothing beats this. Nothing comes even remotely close. The final scene still remains one of the most shocking, pretty much, reveals in any piece of media, just period. Like, you expect it to end happily, but then it pulls a 180, and I'm gonna end off there so I don't spoil, but episode 8 is literally like watching the birth of a cosmic being, because it is, and I could gush about everything, so I may just end it here, because I could go on for, again, hours about Twin Peaks: The Return alone. It's just this moving, transcendent experience. Like, episode 2 is... If you thought Inland Empire was crazy, watch this. It's sort of like mundane insanity, where, like, all these characters are so well adjusted to this world that it's not even weird. Oh, I also love what they did with Audrey, where... Never mind, I can't say anything about that either without spoiling it. But what they did with Audrey is perfect. And all the expansion of the lodge, and what it is, and what happened to Cooper, and Mr. C, and Dougie, and the visuals, it's all perfect. Like, if you couldn't tell, like, I adore everything about this. Now, the one complaint I can see people making is it's too slow or it's boring. And I can get that. It's a slow movie, but I just completely... It's my favorite Lynch work by a long shot. Fire Walk With Me is also up there. They're like tied for me. But yeah, Twin Peaks: The Return, it's my favorite film at this moment, so it's obviously going to be number one on this list. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and leave your list in the comments down below. Now, the next video for this series will have to be split into 2 parts, because I have so many favorites from the 2000s that I could not make it just a top 10. So, be prepared for that. I think I have... My 90s one is coming along. I need to pretty much catch up more. I still need to see some Kiarostami works from that time period. I already know what my favorites are, like already decided, but I need to get the rest of the list. So I'm going to be watching Trust by Hal Hartley, Close Up by Abbas Kiarostami, and then Abbas Kiarostami made a bunch of works during the 90s, actually. Most of Ferrara's films from the 90s. Nothing will top New Rose Hotel, though. And, yeah, that's the end of the video. In terms of other videos I have coming up, I may do just another favorites list because, like no other reason than because. And I'm debating doing it, but I may review the anime for Attack on Titan and the manga, because if you don't know where Attack on Titan is at right now, catch up on it and watch it, and if you haven't seen it, I beg you, and I mean I beg you to watch it, because first season is good, second season is great, but then after the third season, it just skyrockets into like everything is tied up. It's really hard to talk about it without spoilers, but I just finished the most recent episode. I've already finished the manga, but I can't believe they ended it off there, because now I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting for the episode to come out, because we left off at, I'm going to try and say without spoilers, but Eren versus the Armored Titan round 3 is going to happen, and I can't wait to see it animated. And also the thing, I'm not going to spoil it, but the twist is coming up, and I cannot wait to see that animated. And I love Attack on Titan. I may review a few manga and anime on here, but yeah, and maybe a few albums too, who knows. I've seen a few other YouTubers doing it. SJS Films, or SJS Arts now, did it, and I'm honestly interested to talk about music and movies and all of that, honestly, and TV shows. But for now, I'm just going to stick with movies. If you're interested to hear my thoughts on that, put a comment down below. And yeah. Wow, okay, this video went on a while. So, bye guys, and stay safe, stay quarantined, and have a good day.